verify this. And the way you do that is go to those areas in the world where people rely on coconut oil as their primary source of fat and see how many of them are dropping dead with heart disease. Well, they've done that. They've gone and they've researched this, and they've found that those people who eat the most coconut oil have the lowest rates of heart disease in the world. They're again proving that coconut oil does not promote heart disease, and if anything, it protects against it.
So even the people that are taking CoQ10, which I know is a whole different subject, would also benefit from using just plain coconut oil?
Definitely, yes.
Let's talk a little bit about the antiviral and antimicrobial impacts in fighting infections in the body. This is very interesting to me. Talk about it.
Yes, I've found this very fascinating too. When I first began doing research on coconut oil, this is one of the topics that kept coming up time and time again because it's an important topic, and a great deal of medical research has gone into this area, into medium-chain fatty acids and their effect on microorganisms. And what the research has shown is that these medium-chain fatty acids possess very potent antimicrobial properties, antibacterial properties, antiviral, antifungal properties. And so when you eat the oil, they provide a degree of protection against these infectious diseases. In fact, what's interesting is that the medium-chain fatty acids in coconut oil, the same type of fatty acids are also in human breast milk. And one of the purposes of the medium-chain fatty acids in human breast milk is for the protection that it offers the newborn against infections. So human breast milk contains antibodies against certain diseases, but there's a wide spectrum of other diseases, potential diseases available or the child is exposed to. And it's the medium-chain fatty acids in the breast milk that protects the newborn infant for the first few months of their lives against the typical diseases that they come in contact to. Because a newborn infant, their immune system still isn't fully functional and developed. It's still developing. So the medium-chain fatty acids provide this support while the baby is growing and developing until it can handle, fight off infections on its own. So the same fats that are in coconut oil are the same ones that you find in human breast milk.
This really should be mainstream understanding.
It should. And, when I was doing my research, that was going through my mind. Here I was coming across all these studies that were showing these wonderful things with coconut oil and the medium-chain fatty acids. And I was realizing, that ordinary people just don't know about this. This is stuff that just these researchers know about. And no one's disseminating this information, and that's what led me to write my very first book on coconut, The Coconut Oil Miracle, to tell people about the marvelous things I had uncovered in the medical literature.
I think it's really exciting that by using the coconut oil, you can also dissolve kidney stones. That really sounds kind of wild. Explain it to us.
Well, coconut oil can help with that, but what's even better than that is the coconut water. There has been more research on with using the coconut water and dissolving the kidney stones. And people that are listening may not understand what the difference between, say, coconut water is from coconut milk. When you go to a store and you pick up a coconut, one of the brown, hairy coconuts in the store, and you shake it, and you hear this swishing sound in the middle of it, that is not coconut milk. A lot of Americans refer to that liquid as coconut milk, but that's incorrect. What's inside a coconut is actually coconut water. And if you break the coconut open and you pour that out and put it into a glass, it is pretty transparent. It looks pretty much like regular water. Coconut milk, on the other hand, is made from the meat. You take the meat from the coconut and you crush it, and the juice that comes out of the meat is the coconut milk. And a glass of coconut milk looks just like dairy milk. It's very rich, very creamy. It's pure white, just like milk. So the appearance, the taste, the texture, even the health properties of coconut water and coconut milk are completely different. And one of the benefits of the coconut water is that it can help dissolve kidney stones. And researchers have even suggested that to prevent the reoccurrence of kidney stones in those people who have already had them is to drink 1 to 2 glasses of coconut water a day.
Wow. Wouldn't you say that most people don't know how to cut into a coconut? In other words, access into the coconut, unless you're from these island places, is not that easy, or is it?
Well, it does require kind of a technique to do that. When people go to the store and they buy one of these brown, hairy, hard coconuts, I mean, it's a thick, heavy shell, and it's not easy to break open. And the typical way to do that is to get a hammer and start pounding on it. And, you know, that will work, but it takes a lot of elbow grease. In the islands, they have a very easy method, and they take it, and there's a circumference, you know, the equator. You locate that, and then you take, say, a machete, and then on the dull side of the machete or a knife, they hit it sharply right on the equator, and it will crack the coconut. And it may take two hits, and you could crack the coconut in half, and then you've got 2 equal-sized halves, and then you can scoop out the meat that way. That's the easiest way to do it.
Don't you lose the water if you do it that way, though?
You do if you don't drain it first. So what I do is I poke a hole in 2 of the eyes and then drain it first before I crack it open.
Got it. I knew there was some type of an art to this.
Yes. And then you've got the green coconuts. If you've gone to the store, they'll sell
Whole Foods has those.
Yes, and they're little white. Sometimes they'll even call them white coconuts.
Right.
And these are actually immature or young coconuts, and the purpose for these is mainly for the water inside. The water in the young coconut is sweeter. It's better tasting than that from the mature coconut. In the tropics, the natives, they don't drink water from the mature coconut. They only drink it from the young coconut. And so when you go to Whole Foods or one of these health food stores and you buy one of these white coconuts or young coconuts, the technique of opening is different because the white coconut still has part of the husk on it. And it's a little hard to describe verbally, but basically you set the coconut on your countertop on the flat part of the coconut with the point sticking up, and you take a knife with a big butcher knife, and right at the by the handle where the knife begins, there's a big L shape, and you just hit the coconut with that part of the knife, and it will break through. And you hit it about 4 or 5 times, and you can cut off the top very easily. There are actually YouTube videos that show every step, and you can get into a young coconut in about easily 6 to 10 seconds. It's that easy.
Wow. That's a science. What do you think about taking the young coconuts for their water and putting them in these materials for people to buy, like taken out of the coconut? What's your take on that?
Are you talking about the commercial coconut water?
Yes.
I live in Colorado, and we have a hard time getting good, fresh coconuts here. And so it's easier just to go and buy the little bottled, canned, or Tetra-Packed coconut waters that way. And I think they taste pretty good, actually.
Do you think that, with juices, if you don't drink the juice right away, you can lose the minerals to oxidation? Is that true with the coconut or no?
I have not seen any studies that have actually analyzed the nutritional content of a fresh coconut versus a commercially packaged coconut. I am certain there is probably some loss of some nutrients, but I don't know how much. I know that the fresh coconut is packed with a lot of good, helpful ingredients, and how much of that is lost with the commercial one, I don't know.
What's in the water? Is it potassium?